Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Ty.
And this is Political Party
on Center Street.
And today we're going to be talking about probably the most popular topic on social media right now, which is the airstrikes that we have done in Syria, and also what's been going on in Syria in general.
Syrian civil war. Also, new set.
Yeah.
What's up?
I forgot to tell you.
New set. We've just moved from one end of Mikey's basement to the other.
But it's nicer, I think.
Also,
I don't know. Do you guys think it's nicer?
New camera. See if you noticed that. I think it's a lot better. So, tell us in the comments if you've noticed.
Yeah. Any of the differences.
Yeah. If you like the new set, if you like the new camera, see what's up.
All right. Let's get to it.
Without further ado, we're going to talk about...
So what's been going on in Syria? Tell them that first.
I mean, they've been in civil war for how many years now? It's been like 4 years?
Many.
Longer than that?
Before 2013, because that's when...
Yeah. So what the deal is, you have a civil war in which many factions are fighting for power.
We counted at least 4 because it's ISIS, Al-Qaeda... Free Syrian Army and the Syrian government itself.
So Assad, yeah.
But I think there's even more than 4 if I believe.
The thing is, it's crazy because there are factions, and then there are factions that are supporting those factions and funding them and giving them weapons, and it's a very complicated scenario to try to analyze or try to talk about.
It is, yeah. So that's another thing that shows us we don't know exactly who used the chemical bombs. I mean, that's the first problem that I had with this, is that we don't know if it was Assad who uses the chemical bombs. That happened last week. But we might have attacked the people who didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, there's that element of uncertainty where it's just like, I don't understand. Like, I make the assumption in my head that, well, the U.S. government knows something that I don't, and they knew it was Assad. But then the problem comes, it's just like, well, it doesn't really make sense to be Assad.
It doesn't at all. It came the day after that the U.S. said that we shouldn't be involved and that they should just elect their own presidents. And, like, we basically backed Assad.
Sided with
Assad. So why would the next day, why would he want to make all of us mad, make the whole world mad at him?
It didn't make sense. So there's a lot up in the air about that. There's a lot of, like I said, factions involved. It's a very complicated situation. But basically, what the scare is that Russia...
Yeah, and Iran, but they're not as big of a threat. But
well, some people would say they're... I mean, not as big, but like they're still definitely a threat.
They are, yeah. I'm not denying that, yeah. They both are really mad at us for what we did because they're allies with the Syrian government. They're allies with Assad.
Assad. They support the Assad regime.
Yeah.
They support Assad. So we've made Russia mad. We've made Iran mad.
Obviously Assad mad.
Yeah, obviously Assad, especially if it wasn't even him. And this is kind of where I come to like a pass with Donald Trump is like, he ran on non-interventionism. He ran on America first.
He continued it. He said multiple times that we were going to stay out of Syria. Now he said he was going to bomb the hell out of ISIS.
Yeah, he would say things like that.
But like his actual campaign ran off of I'm going to stay out of Syria. And like I would even understand if ISIS didn't attack to us that we would attack them. But, like, we didn't attack ISIS. We attacked ISIS's #1 enemy right now. And we helped ISIS. Assad has literally been taking down ISIS, like, dropping them in notches. And we just took out Assad's airfield. And now ISIS can take over. I even saw there's, like, a town that's unprotected now that was protected by Assad that one of the rebel groups will take over. So
that's wonderful. I actually... It's not actually wonderful.
No. He's sarcastic.
And that was one thing that I actually supported Trump over because I subscribe to the non-aggression principle. That's a pretty libertarian thing. Both Democrats and Republicans
want war.
Have been pro-war for decades. I'd say since the Vietnam War. Yeah. Since World War II. We've been in a state of perpetual war. Especially not since the 80s and 90s with the Middle East. You could date that even back to the 50s.
Yeah.
If you go back to
Cold War.
Cold War and on back. So we're like he supports the non-aggression principle, whereas Republicans and Democrats don't.
So we like that about him. That was like
was the one thing that I really supported. And
yeah.
He backed away from it with this. He said he had a change of heart when he saw this video, and yeah,
it is saddening.
It's a terrible video. Like, makes me feel bad.
You don't want to watch that, and you don't want to see that stuff happening to other people. But when we might not have even attacked, the people behind it. We might have just made the people behind it stronger.
Yeah.
We didn't know enough about it, and we should have just stayed out of their affairs to begin with. We want to tell you about non-interventionism, too.
Yeah, non-interventionism, the non-aggression principle. If you aren't attacked, you don't attack someone else.
Yeah.
Non-interventionism, which is what Trump ran on, non-aggression principle, is so unless your national security is at threat, is directly threatened by whatever's going on,
mm-hmm.
you don't respond militaristically. War should be the last option. It should be declared
by Congress, done the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should, if you're going to call it a war, go to war, win the war, declare it, get out.
Yeah.
So
people are also arguing that this was legal, and we want to say it really wasn't. We did a direct attack on the Syrian government, which we needed congressional approval for that. And many of you mentioned the War Powers Act, and that still says that we would need to be attacked first or have a direct threat to our nation. We didn't have a direct
that's
threat to
really
our nation.
a stretch. I don't even know how you begin to bend that to say there's a direct threat to us or our national security. Does not make sense to me
at all.
But to go on, non-interventionism is it's different from isolationism, which is something that people always compare it to. They say isolationists and non-interventionists are the same thing. They're not, because non-interventionists are still willing to trade with other nations freely, and they're willing to negotiate with other nations diplomatically.
We want to have friendly relations with countries. We just don't want to have unfriendly, and we don't want to get involved in their happenings. Whatever's going on in their country, we don't want to be involved in it.
Because, I mean, how many $1 trillion in debt do we have to get?
Yeah, before we realize that we need to put America first, like Trump promised.
And I agree with that, because like I said, we can only spread ourselves out so far.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be the nation's police.
The world police, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the world police.
There's other countries that, yes, we're the strongest in the world, but there are other countries that, can do this stuff. If they care about it that much, they can intervene. Why do we have
you lead
to?
the way. We can play the support role. You lead the way.
Yeah.
It's always America leads the way.
When we're $20 trillion in debt and we have poor people dying in our country.
And the budget that we talked about in the other episode,
yeah.
If you like all those things, like the EPA, you like all this other stuff, Meals on Wheels.
If you're mad that he cut that for military spending, then you really should be also against the airstrikes, because that is our military spending.
Yeah.
If you're for the airstrikes and you were cheering on that, but you were also you were that's a good thing Trump did, but you're then against cutting the EPA, you're contradicting yourself, because we just spent money that we took from the EPA on that. In general, we both agree we should just be spending less money as a nation. Yeah. And I think defense, quote unquote defense, we're not actually defending ourselves. We're committing acts of aggression. We are forcing our will on other nations. We're the ones starting fights. They didn't pick a fight with us. No.
We picked the fight with them. So spend less money. That's conservative. I don't understand where the idea we understand it domestically. Conservatives, they're just okay, we need to spend less money, and that's conservative. But then all of a sudden it's just we should be spending more money on defense, and somehow that's still a conservative value, and that makes no sense. Spend less money,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, even she is for this.
So Democrats can't even say...
They can't even say, like, we didn't vote for this. Yeah, if you voted for Hillary Clinton, you voted for exactly what Trump did. She probably would have done it sooner, in all honesty.
Yeah.
She probably would have bombed them sooner.
We have warmongering going on, both parties.
Yeah.
And they have, like I said before, they said for decades, they've been warmongering parties. We don't have a major party
that's anti-war.
We don't have a peace party.
Yeah.
We have two parties that always want to be at perpetual war.
Yeah. And we are, like, don't think that we're just, like, wimps. Like, we are okay with war if we get attacked.
Yeah.
Like, we're not saying never fight. Like, no, if we get attacked first, go bomb them, like, to smithereens. Like,
you attack us, we attack back. We declare war, we go in, we win.
And then we leave.
And that's how it should be done.
How it should be.
It shouldn't be we occupy countries, we spend trillions of dollars, we just drag it out over decades.
We help out other countries.
And we don't call it a war. We call it a conflict, so we don't have to declare it, because that's a lot easier than actually debating and having a conversation.
And having civilians have their voice heard.
Yeah, we are really interested to see where the majority of you fall on this issue, because like we said, we have Democrats and we have Republicans, and that
are both pro-war.
And I feel like the majority of the public is not pro-war.
Yeah, so I don't know I don't know how this happens. I don't think they just listen to us at all when it's about war. They don't.
When it comes to defense spending, I really don't think people are represented well at all anymore, because we don't have a major party. I mean, we have the Libertarian Party, the party of which I identify with the most, but I mean, they don't have a big voice. They don't get a say in what goes on. We have people like Rand Paul. We have people like Justin Amash, Thomas Massey.
And they're always fighting on our side.
They're always the ones that are anti-war. You hear Rand Paul every single time there's a military conflict. He's the one being like, "Please declare it. Please follow the Constitution." So, I don't know.
Yeah. So we want to hear your voice. Want to hear what you have to say about it. We were gonna have one of our friends on today who's Syrian. Have her opinion shown. She wasn't able to make it.
Yeah.
But like, just tell us what you want to say.
Yeah, I've had conversations with people, and you've had conversations with people
from Syria, and
so
I haven't met a single one who was for this, but I know there are some because
there's
of the
people
Civil War.
There's people outside of our bubble.
Yeah.
That
but I've
certainly disagree with us.
I think I counted at least 6 Syrians that are friends of mine who oppose our intervention because we don't know the problems that we're going to cause long term there.
So yeah, that's basically the gist of this issue. It's a very, very complex, very, very just convoluted issue. It's a civil war. It's factions against factions being supported by other factions, and it's a mess. And then we get involved and we make it worse. Non-interventionism is the way to go. Yeah. That's our point. That's what Donald Trump ran on, and we kind of want to see him follow through with his promises in the future and not go ahead and bomb countries because he sees a video and has a change of heart.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Here's an outro. Bye.